I want you to take a moment and look around. Really look around. Where are you? Are you in your car? What does the seat feel like? What does the air feel like? Are you home? Are you sitting on your couch? What color is it? Are there any stains that you forgot to get out? Look at the walls. What pictures hang there? What pictures do you want to be hung there? These are all questions that have answers. We should be grateful for these answers. We should be aware of these answers. And most importantly, we should question these answers. Take a moment and think about your life. Think about when you were born, where you were born. Think about your mother, your father, your siblings. And then I want you to answer one last question for me. How did you get here?
Hello?
Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Jabril.
Are you ready now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's the best place you've ever lived?
The best place I've ever lived. I would say when we very first moved back down to Texas and we got our very first house, after about a month or two of living there, I would say that was the best house we were ever in because my mom, she was the most stable back then and my dad was still around. And, you know, he was pretty good back then too. So, you know, we had like a constant relationship with the family back then, but now we're just kind of like, we're more or less isolated from the family.
When I was younger, and we used to go over my grandma Chan's house, and this was back when I had a grandfather, and it was the only one that like I really like, you know, saw as a grandfather, because you know even Dwight, he was so young. My granddaddy Al, and we literally called him Granddaddy Al. He had, you know, a beard that was gray, and he had a big belly. You know, he was just like the typical grandpa. And I remember one day him and my grandma Chan was arguing, and I remember my grandma Chan was going to the store, and she asked me and my sister, y'all can either stay here or come with me, which one y'all want to do? And maybe and I was like, stay here with Granddaddy Al, or specifically, I would stay here with Granddaddy Al. And I remember she was like, no, you coming with me. And it just kind of like goes to show like this buildup of mistrust in men that I've had in my life. Like that was like the only like father really that I had in my life. And even when I chose him, when I chose to trust him with my life, a woman in my life rejected that whole idea and demanded that I trust her more and choose her. So yeah.
Where did I come from? Okay, make it simple answer. I came from Bessemer.
Who are you and what do you represent?
I am a strong Black woman, and I represent, for me, I represent who I am, who my mother strived to be, and who I want my kids to model themselves after. Okay, my high school experience was kind of like all over the place. My freshman year of high school was kind of chaotic. all my friends in middle school, we all, followed each other. And then I watched a lot of my classmates choose the wrong crowds, follow the wrong people, fall into games, and then, just a lot of crazy things. A lot of people in my class graduated. I think it was maybe a class of 200. Out of that 200, I'm going to say maybe 185 graduated. My counselors, I'm going to say my high school counselors were not the greatest, because we did not have conversations about if I wanted to attend college, what was my goals. I didn't take the ACT at school or SAT. I would, it wasn't a lot of advising. They didn't tell us any of that. I didn't realize, I went to night school my senior year because I found out on my own that I needed a 9th grade course, that I couldn't graduate without it. And that was only after I went to the counselor myself. Where did that come from? For me personally, the pros of living in Birmingham is it's familiar.
Birmingham, Alabama was founded in 1871 by Ellerton Land Company. It was rich in minerals and thus was named after Birmingham, England, which was the home of England's iron industry. It came to be known as Magic City because once settled, the city exploded with wealth and prosperity. Railroads contributed most notably to the establishment of the city, as they allowed for monetary expeditions throughout transportation. As time went on, Birmingham experienced many ups and downs, including an epidemic and an economic panic. And yet one fact remains the same throughout Birmingham's history. It was founded and curated by white people, which means Black people have been consistently erased from history.
It was familiar. I knew if I came back to Birmingham, where to go, what to do, how to work things out. And family was here. More family was here. Now, the cons of living in Birmingham is there are limitations. You can only go so far.
When you're young and you're in elementary school and it's going to be the first day of school, and so you get all your school supplies together and your mama be like, put your name on everything. You put your name on your pencil with a Sharpie, or you put your name on your pencil box, on all your notebooks. I used to always write my name in big, bold, black letters. You put your name on it, so can't nobody take it, can't nobody say it's theirs. That's what I feel like we need to do with Birmingham. It's a lot of gentrification, but I feel like the Black people there who built the city, who literally built the city, who make the city, Magic City, they not getting any benefits. Y'all not getting any benefits from these nicer restaurants, these nicer bars. You're not getting any profits. You're probably not even getting hired at these places. I just feel like that's what we need to do with Birmingham. If we gonna live there, if it's gonna be our space, if we're gonna represent it, we need to put our name on it so can't nobody take it.
I think they're capitalizing off, for lack of better words, it's like they're capitalizing off of our ignorance. Birmingham is not so much of one of the up and coming cities as other places, so there are not a lot of opportunities here. Like they're building $1,000, $1 billion hotels and bike rides and stuff. So it seems like everything is for adult entertainment. So these mainly, I'll pick out some of those and mainly do some kid things, like a skating rink. We no longer have a skating rink, or do an indoor water park or something like that. So just not making the adult entertainment, try to throw something in where the whole family can be entertained, or kids can do something as well.
I say all things are working for my good. Intentional. I say all things are working for my good. Intentional.
Hard things that I've had in school. from other people, because school isn't really hard for me. I just do what I need to do. It's not really too hard. The most time I have out of school is the other people in school, because I'm pretty different from like the average person. I know that, of course, it doesn't bother me, but I guess it bothers other people around me. And I've had a lot of altercations with people because I dress strange, or I talk strange, or I act this way, or people think I'm bougie about this, or that they think I'm better than them for some reason. It's just little things that I think that people don't understand, that they kind of take to heart and blame it on me. As far as I can remember, I don't remember how old I was. Maybe I was maybe like 7 or 8, along in there. But it's one memory that I can remember of. We were in Annandale. We were playing out back, and there was a drive-by shooting.
Birmingham's local government functions in a mayor-council format, meaning that its mayor and 9 council members are elected every 4 years. Your council members are, in order, Clinton Woods, Hunter Williams, Valerie Abbott, William Parker, Darrell O'Quinn, Crystal Smitherman, Wardeen Alexander, Stephen Hoyt, and John Hillard. More information can be found on birminghamcitycouncil.org. Here you can email your city council members and inform them of your everyday complications.
My plans after high school are, I'm not very good at sports. I've never really been like a sports outdoor person. But I can play volleyball, but I want to go to Harvard University for 4 years. And, I know Harvard is like a pretty costly school. So the most I want to do is I want to get the best scholarship I can. I want to be an architectural engineer right now.
I'm here. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so for this first question, just answer whichever thing comes to your mind first. Where did you come from?
My mama.
Okay, next one, the same thing. Who are you and what is your purpose in life?
I am Jasmine, the mother of 3 daughters, and my purpose here is to be a provider, to teach others, to help others. Yeah, I think that's my purpose. And I'll move my neighbor walking up. Hey, look at him.
It's okay.
Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah. How you liking it so far? You enjoying us being your neighbor? Good.
That's his mom in game for. I can't believe it, man. Can you ever see this door?
Where are you? Okay, what are the pros and cons to living in Birmingham?
The pros are, the pros are you around family, so it's very family oriented. We look forward to every day something new, I must say. Every day is something new. So I think the pros mainly is being around family. Now the cons is, I can say, money wise, or the state do pay more, but they cost of living is much higher than Birmingham. So I guess money wise, like financially, is be the cons. But for the most part, I guess you can overlook that when you have family. I guess.
Have people in your life ever made you feel uncomfortable or disappointed in your body?
I think food. I think I a little discouraged myself about those, but the people around me haven't really. I would say it's more so like a self-esteem thing for me. So I wouldn't say the people around. I said it's mainly like a self self type of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure sometimes. Sometimes it's your family, and I know that they don't mean to. And I know, like, I'm not always the one that's, like, taking it to heart. But I don't know, it's like sometimes, I'll go out with my family or something like that. And I'll be comfortable in what I'm wearing. Or even if it's just, like, some sweatpants and a sweatshirt. Because I feel like when you're with your family, you should be comfortable. But it'll be sometimes, an aunt will make, like, a little comment about my weight. Or, they'll, comment about, how I don't really dress up as much as I used to. Or, it'll be sometimes where I wore what I felt made me comfortable because, when I go to school, I'm not really thinking about what other people think about my look. But, it just feels worse to have people that, that you love and that are close to you say it than have some random stranger on the street say it.
Okay, the last question. If you could describe your life in one sentence, what would it be?
It's not over.
All right, questions for Birmingham. Has your upbringing in Birmingham as a child helped shape your outlook on life as an adult? I'm an adult now. So one thing I always tell people is that when I moved to Texas, it was the first time that I had to really realize that I was Black. Because in Birmingham, I was just so surrounded by Black people every day, all the time. When I went out, I was surrounded by Black people. When I went to the library, when I went to the park, when I went to water parks, all I saw was just Black people all the time. And if it was white people, we didn't really have any interactions with them. And so I didn't have a lot of, like, pride in my family, in my Blackness, and my traditions. I didn't even know they were traditions. I didn't even know that there were things that only Black people did until I left Birmingham. And as I've grown up, I've really, like, had a pride in that. Like, I like saying, I tell everybody whenever they ask me anything about myself, I'm like, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and yeah, I just love it. It just taught me that I have a place that I come from, and I carry that pride every day, because our accents in Birmingham, don't nobody have them in the world. We're the only ones that talk like we do. We're the only ones that know about, Avondale and Kingston and Parker and Fultondale and Forestdale and Hoover. We the only ones that really know, like, the network and know what we talking about when we say Legion Field and the BJCC, and that's pretty cool. Okay, being that you are from Birmingham, now a senior at the University of Houston, I am. Have you noticed the difference in how education is taught and the effect that it has on students' positives and negatives? So I guess let's start with the positive. The positive of, being educated in Birmingham is that, like I said, it's this real communal feeling. Like, I can still tell you today the first and the last name of, like, almost everybody in my class in elementary and middle school. Because it was a small school. I didn't even think of it as a small school at that time, or small schools at that time, but they were. They were small schools, closely knit. I can tell you the names of my teachers. I can tell you what they dressed like. It was just a small school. So it was that communal feeling, that feeling of familiarity and having a clique, just knowing people and really knowing people. Whereas here in Texas, my schools were so big. My high school had like 4,000 students. I graduated with over 800 students. My middle school was really big too, and I can only tell you like a handful of names. And even like my closest friends from high school, I really only really know their first names. I don't even really know them like I still know the people from Birmingham. Negatives. Going to school in Birmingham, we learned a lot about, civil rights. We went to a lot of, plays and the history museums and stuff like that, field trips. But I feel like I didn't learn as much as I could have because of behavioral problems. Like, I remember we used to get silent lunches. We used to always have to line up to go to class. It was just kind of like this really military sort of environment, even go down to our school uniforms. I didn't get to express myself. I didn't get to see how other people would express themselves. So, I was restricted in that. We only had 3 electives, I think, PE, technology, and band. Whereas in middle school here, I took art first time here in Texas, and I was so happy because I always love art, but it was never available in my schools. I think we had music in elementary school at Southampton, but I got to take art, I got to take photography, I got to take AP Art 4, I got to take forestry, and I just learned so much more. So it was more of a variety of subjects to learn about here. Furthermore, my classes here were much more strict. It was much more about learning, and almost zero time went to, behavioral issues. I remember junior year, this one guy like cussed out my teacher, and he was like looked at as like just crazy. Like he was like, it was the only time that it happened. It's like the only incident I can think of that there was an issue with behavior and class had to be stopped to deal with the student and their behavior. And I'm not trying to say at all that the Black people in Birmingham just all have behavioral problems. I'm just telling you my experience. It was definitely every day at my high school, at my middle school, you come in, this is the math that we're working on today. Get y'all laptops out. We had laptops. Get y'all laptops out. Take notes. This is your homework assignment. Go to science. This is the thing we're learning today in chemistry. Get your notebooks out. We finna go over this project. Then we're gonna get up and go with the buns and burners. Then this y'all homework. And it was like that. We had homework every day. I had homework every day, which really ended up preparing me for college. I told my my principal, my AP from my high school, Klein Collins, I told him when I was trying to get more, African American History Month, Black History Month programs at my high school, I told him, I was like, y'all really prepared me for college. It was some classes in high school that are harder than my classes in college. And some of them on the same level. Like we had papers to do, we had research papers. It was really like hardcore stuff. So it's like almost now in college, there's nothing that they can toss my way that I can't do because I already did in high school. And I feel like more Black children need to be challenged because we are smart and we can, do sophisticated things. We are brilliant. I just feel like a lot of people hold us back by assuming that we don't know. And that's really damaging. So I always try to push my cousins. Randall was like, a book is too long. I said, you too old for a book to be too long. You too old to have a word that you can't know now. Because I feel like once you hit like past 8, 9, you should be able to read any book you want. And they should. You know how to play all these games, and you know how to do all these things that I have no idea about. You can read a chapter book with 40 chapters in there. Even if it take you a whole 2 months to read it, you can do it. What are the obstacles that hinder growth for Blacks in Birmingham, and what do you believe it will take to overcome those obstacles? It kind of just go back to what I just said about people in charge not believing that Black people have the ability to be businessmen and businesswomen, to be entrepreneurs, to be scientists, to be rocket scientists, to be pediatricians. We can. We invented a lot of the techniques anyway. A lot of the stuff we invented. We didn't just invent peanut butter and, the traffic light. We invented so many things that they don't even tell us about. So that's an obstacle, is that Black people don't get taught in schools and get taught in homes that they are incredible human beings with, limitless brains, limitless knowledge at their fingertips, and we don't exercise those abilities that are God-given, honestly, in our everyday lives. Now that's what hinders us. We don't feel like we can rule the world. I wake up every day, it's in my brain, it's never like this is something that I can't do. I wake up and I go places all the time, and I think one day I'm gonna own this place. I could own this place. I am that great. I am that important that one day I could own this whole facility. I could own this whole stadium. You got to think like that. Even if I don't want to own it, even if it never comes true, even if that's not a dream of mine, I walk and I act like I can own it, and like I do own it already. And that is, that is the obstacle. Our mindsets, our mentalities, vile mentalities. As J. Cole, one of my favorite rappers, we have vile mentalities. We just been so oppressed that we just feel like we are, 10 floors underground when really we the ones that built the elevator, you know what I mean? Like, we the ones that built the stairs, we the ones built the building. So how dare people, try to convince us that we belong, at surface level or even beneath surface level, when in fact we are the original inventors of elevators. I think Kayla gonna get that. Given the opportunity, how would you make a change for the upcoming generations? I would just keep doing what I'm doing. A lot of people don't notice, or I guess they just assume that I just go live a 20-year-old life, but I don't. I be at home every day, plotting, planning, thinking of anything, talking with my mama, talking with my cousins, talking with my sister, talking with my uncles, trying to come up with any strategy that I can to help the future generation, whether that is sending books off, whether that is calling them, whether that is telling them information, whether that is showing them pictures of my natural hair, thinking about can we set up a scholarship program for the upcoming seniors in our family, just stuff like that. But so mostly it all comes down to education, educating them on, like I was saying before, on who they are. You are like God's child. That is a big deal. You are a black woman, a black man. That is a big deal. You should be celebrated. You are a king. You are a queen. Educate yourself on who you are first. First, you got to recognize that. You wake up in the morning and be like, I'm it. I'm the one they looking for. I'm the one they waiting on. I like to bring up that Drake quote, they asked for the boss, so they sent me. I'm the one they asking for. I'm the one that get the job done, to quote Drake again. But yeah, educate yourself first on who you are and your abilities and what you can do, which is practically, limitless. You got no ceiling like Blue. Secondly, educate yourself on where you are and your surroundings. How did you get there? Why is your family there? Educate yourself on the United States, on Alabama, on North America. And then educate yourself, on the globe. Go further than what they teach you in schools. You got to look out. You got to seek that information, because ain't nobody going to give it to you, because they don't want you to know and find out who you are. So you got to go out of your way and find it yourself, because it's out there. You're not the first ones. It's out there. You got to go find it. I try to go find it every day that I can. And then I guess finally, educate yourself on education. Once you learn all this stuff about, who you are in the globe and things like that, go back and think about how we educate, why we educate, what we don't tell, you know what I mean? And it'll come back to, sadly, it'll come back to race and white superiority. The way that textbooks are written, the wording that they use, it's all very intentional. So go back and then reflect on what you know, why you know it, what you don't know, and why you don't know it. And that's all, I guess.
Where you are and where you're going is the same place, my dear. You've been rolling, life's burning in a cycle of years, and I know that it's heavy, but that's why you got me and her and him. That's why you got us and all of them. So you just keep swimming. This life's a tsunami I can't explain. I'll be feeling better in the morning when I know your name. Why I dived in too deep, I jumped That's why you got me and her and him. That's why you got us and all of them. So you just keep swimming. I know where you're going. I've been there 2 times. I know how you're floating. I've seen the water rise. I know where you're rowing. I've seen the high tides. I know where you're going. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.